What's different in law enforcement, past and present? What has changed? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, you were working with Wyatt Earp, so why don't you start things
Well,
off?
listen, I can remember
That was
sitting
Fields
with
Runners.
Wyatt and Doc and I were all sitting on the porch kind of like this. We're trying to keep this family oriented, but I really want to say something derogatory to you.
I know what you want to say.
Anyway, people ask me all the time, do you miss law enforcement? And I say, no, I miss free ammo. I miss that a lot. Anyway, guys, I don't know when you went on the job, but I went on the job before Graham versus Connor and Garner versus Tennessee.
Man, you're old.
1976. Force was applied in a good faith effort. And we were talking earlier about the keel lights, the tailpipe like that you put on your non-gun shoulder like this so you could El Kabong them.
Mm-hmm.
I had pretty good faith that when I hit that guy in the head with that flashlight, it was going to work. And you know what? It did. And I hit a few people with flashlights.
You mean you didn't holster it and grab your side handle baton?
I think the statute of limitations has passed on that, but I hit a few people.
I'll never tell.
And the fact of the matter is those little blood vessels or capillaries are real close to the surface of the skull right there. So when you hit them, it looks like their skull explodes. And I remember the first time I did it, I was like, oh, I killed this guy, because they went down faster than gravity could pull somebody to the ground. But you know what? It never hurt anybody seriously. And invariably, no exceptions, the next time I saw that person, they called me sir. So I think use of force and how we've now reeled it back in, and I'm going to get passionate with you guys about this. Cops need to be cops. Law enforcement is truly like taking out the garbage. Everybody wants it done, but nobody wants to see how it's done. And now with all the proliferation of cameras.
More crown.
Anytime a law enforcement officer does something, it's on video somewhere. And let's face it, you can't apply force nicely. Someone's going to get hurt. But you know what? They need to be hurt because it's justified based, according to the Fourth Amendment, based on the circumstances at hand. And we have reeled it back in so much because we don't like the way it looks on video that now we're not letting our trash collectors take out the trash because, guys, I'm just going to go ahead and say it right here in front of the cameras. There are people that need to be hit. There are people that need to be shot just as much as there are people who need to be incarcerated. And I'll just throw it out there for you right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
My dad likes to say when he was a kid, he never even considered running from the cops because he was afraid he'd get shot. Nowadays, these guys know not only we're not going to shoot them, they know we're not going to use force.
We're not even going to chase them.
They're not even going to prone out. They're not going to.
I lived in a neighborhood with 2 CHP officers and a deputy sheriff that I went to school with their kids. I was terrified to do anything wrong because that was who always showed up. And there's a direct pipeline not to jail, it's to your parents.
Yeah.
It's how things have changed. You talk about people and the use of force. It's sometimes, because what we're seeing through this technology is sometimes a weird application of that force that almost looks like we've trained people to be afraid. And when we have a lack of experience, that first time you do anything, guys get out of the academy, the first time you pull a car over, it's the most terrifying thing you're ever doing because you got to go talk to a person you've never talked to before. People stutter, they stammer. 100 and some odd stops into it, it's like old home week. You watch some of this interaction, and granted, we have people making statements left and right, whether it's the open carry and the nitwits and the Starbucks with the ARs on their back and that kind of stuff. But you watch how they're being handled by agencies, and it's like you're yelling at the video, dude, you're as wrong as you could be. Yeah. Stop, just calm down a little bit, relax with this guy. And then other instances, like the guy that got chased down the street and didn't take any action. It's like, come on, when did we stop knocking people on their butts? And it's like we're not able to strike a happy medium on this.
The thing is, you need to be aggressive. Taking someone into custody is not defensive. That's my problem with the term defensive tactics. And if someone attacks you, you are defensive momentarily to protect yourself, but as soon as possible, you're taking the offense. And we're afraid to say that we're offensive, but if you take someone into custody, there's nothing defensive about that.
Look
It's totally offensive.
Absolutely.
Look at how across the board, not individual agencies, but across the board, laterally, how we still train for weapons retention. That is a deadly force situation when somebody's trying to take your gun. We're still locking them down and trying to shake them off
Yeah.
the gun. Something else needs to occur during that.
Lock them down, take your pin and shove it in their neck.
But most people won't do that.
Exactly.
I fought for my own gun 4 times in my law enforcement career. And I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it was because they didn't want to pawn my gun. Pretty sure they wanted to use it against
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nothing against Jim Lindell. He was a pioneer in law enforcement. But I was a certified instructor in the Lindell method of weapon retention. And I'm trapping the gun and I'm striking all
arm.
that kind of stuff. And you know what? It never got that person to let go of my gun. You know what got that person to let go of my gun?
Attacking him.
A curly Larry and Moe right to the eye sockets or,
Shut
or
that
a punch to
computer
the
down.
throat. Because you know what you got to do? You don't attack the arm that's grabbing your gun. You attack the person that's attached to that arm.
Absolutely.
And that's what stops it. But you know what? On video, it looks cruel, mean, and heartless.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But people need to understand that when someone's trying to take your gun, that's a deadly force situation. There's nothing you can't do.
Yep.
If deadly force is authorized, you can run someone over with your car. You can shove your ballpoint pen in their eye. You can bite their nose off. I mean, there's nothing you can't do if deadly force is authorized.
You may go through a rough time with the prosecutor and going to court and all that kind of stuff, but you remember what one of my favorite lines, we're all movie guys. We've been talking about movies all day. One of my favorite lines in any movie ever was the Kevin Costner version of The Untouchables. When Sean Connery says, the first rule of law enforcement is at the end of your shift, you go home alive. And you know what? That was one of the finest pieces of cinema that was ever filmed.
You know, getting out of the movies and just getting into just, popular culture around us.
Right.
And I got more kids now, and now I'm at that juncture. Now everybody's a kid, right? And I'm with you.
What do you
I'm with
think
you.
I feel
I'm
like?
with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I grew up on Wamba, and I got
The
people-
choir practice?
choir boys.
Oof.
We still hold choir
Well,
practice.
the
by
choir
way.
practice was an event. Yeah.
Absolutely. But people don't. Kids don't even know those stories.
Oh, here it is. I got it. Go ahead.
They don't even know those stories. They don't even know those books. And because we've moved past that to where it's the negative representation of us.
Well, we were talking, Wes, there's a lot of new cops who have never heard of the Newhall incident.
True.
I mean,
Or the Norco bank robbery.
yeah.
Well, no, better yet, we just got done teaching in South Florida, and it was on the anniversary date of the '86 shootout. And the range master at this agency was like, we just did a whole presentation on it. And I had a whole squad of officers that, what happened in '86? It was just down the street.
Have you ever been down there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You don't realize from the newsreels and the after action reports and all the videos that were done how close that all was.
Oh, I just sat through a briefing that Ed Morales did.
Yep.
And it's like I'm riveted because this is a guy that I want to learn from. I mean, he lived it. He did it. He was part of it.
I heard that briefing years ago when he was still with the FBI and he couldn't go public at an ASLEC conference. And you're absolutely right. It was just like, holy crap.
Well, Aslet would be years ago, wouldn't it? Damn.
I think 98, 99 it
Yeah.
ended.
It's not my fault, but the first conference I did for ASLET as an instructor was their last conference.
Albuquerque?
I don't think it's because my course was that bad.
See what you did?